Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let Me Talk. Today, we are going to be talking with Ross DiBello, one of the new guys throwing his hat in the race for Cleveland mayor. We've all wanted change for a really long time. And now let's see if we can get that. Ross, how are you, sir?
Tom, I'm doing great. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, not a problem, not a problem. Well, we've talked, we've met a little bit, but tell everyone else watching, who is Ross DiBello?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. My wife and I moved to West Park in October of 18. We got a house on Mirrormead. That's by the family video.
Okay.
Before that, we were in an apartment right over the 117th border in Lakewood by Lucky's. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney since '09. I worked at the law offices of Cassandra Collier-Williams on East 21st and St. Clair for 3 or 4 years. Then there was a couple elections. I've done this campaign stuff before. It's a lot of work, but it can be a lot of fun and really rewarding. Cassandra got elected judge, a felony judge. I followed her to become her judicial staff attorney. So I'm an ex-county employee.
Okay.
7.5 years at the Justice Center. I just stopped working there when COVID hit the USA, and now I review like federal court documents from the safety of my own home. And and before that, I was a professional poker player, lifelong Northeast Ohioan. Grew up in Chesterland, went to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, and my wife and I are in love with West Park. We just did a 30-year refinance, and life is good. And life is good.
Excellent. Sorry, trying to fix some of the back end stuff we were having issue with before. But we're definitely live. Well, you're in the neighborhood. You're planning on being a lifer now.
Yeah, I mean, we really are. But we got to get these streets plowed, and we got to get this recycling fixed.
Exactly. Well, tell me this then. What made you decide to go from that to mayor? Because I mean, it's kind of a big step. And I mean, even with talking to some of the people I've talked with about your announcing, there's this viewpoint that it's like too big of a step. And that's something I don't necessarily agree with at all. But that's what a lot of people might actually think. So you tell me, what made you decide you want to go right into mayor?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a want thing. I think it's a duty. I think that more people need to run. I'm kind of a lefty. I'm Bernie 2016, Bernie 2020. I demand progress from my electeds, and I didn't know whether that would be on the ballot or not. I think that the way things are done is pretty clearly backwards, and I have a viewpoint and I have a plan. And again, I think more people should pull petitions, run, and propose some changes and give us, I don't know how this is going to go, but as a voter and as a taxpayer, a homeowner, a future parent, we got to step up. We got to step up. It's not just
right.
It's not just me. And, I never wanted to be a politician. So I can see why maybe politicians or something would say, hey, well, this is the way I do it, or this is the way that most of us do it.
Right.
So that's fair. That's understandable. But there's just a vacuum here, I now, and with platforms and with plans. And I think we're doing it one way, which is a select few make decisions, kind of unrepresentative of our opinions. And when I say our, I mean pretty much probably well over 50% on many of the issues. And I just think we need to completely swap that to where, we are kind of rubber stamping what a clear majority wants. Now, you got to make tough calls when people disagree on things,
right,
and when maybe neighborhoods are diametrically opposed on things. You got to step up and be a leader. But City Hall is here to the traditional cliche, government is of, for, and by the people. And we're in charge. We pay the taxes. We want policy dictated in our will. And we're not getting that right now. So it's not really about building a resume and doing things the traditional way. It's about giving me and my neighbors a choice.
Truth is, that's one of the things when I first heard somebody say, well, it's too big of a step. That was the first thing that kind of popped into my mind. Exactly that point, what you said about building a resume. Is that what I look at so many politicians on a larger scale, and yeah, some of them are career lifelong politicians, but the ones that are getting things done, the ones that are really getting out there and really getting in the face of the people, that's not what they are. They're definitely not. And they're the ones that are really affecting change in a lot of ways. So I kind of think that whole mindset, it kind of bugs me. It shouldn't be looked at that way.
Yeah, it certainly shouldn't. But I mean, to each their own. And if you feel, because the truth of the matter is, somebody that's been in council is going to know more about community development block grants and the road paving. And if you've been in council for the last 8 or 12 years or something, that's going to lend experience. But at the same time, we've been sliding in the wrong direction.
Oh,
so you may learn something the wrong way, or maybe we need a new viewpoint on this or that, or to start anew with a clean slate.
Now, what do you think? I don't know. Simply put, one of the biggest things that I look at when it comes to a candidate, like when I first heard about you, first thing I did, I went to your website, actually went through, and you were one of the few candidates who actually does have a list broken down really of where you stand on a lot of things. And I would encourage anybody listening, go to, rosdibello.com, take a look. It's about policy contact. It's brief, but it really goes into a lot of detail on exactly what his stances are, what his views are. And frankly, what I've heard from people in West Park, a lot of them really line up.
Yeah.
So that to me tells me that people need to know you because they don't.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I agree. And I don't think I would have run if I didn't think I had a lot to say and propose. I'm not running for school board because I haven't put the time in on, a unique school board issue to where I can look myself in the mirror and say, I'm better than this 8-year incumbent, or, I like my viewpoint. I like my method better than this or that person in whatever position is. But mayor, and as a Clevelander, I don't like a number of specific things that I've seen. And I don't like the method by which the decisions are getting made, of which I don't even know what the method is, but I know it skirts majority opinion, whether it's a 60-year tax abatement, something being constructed, all kinds of stuff, the petitions, the Q deal. Again, our job, if I get elected, or, in our current elected, the job is to enact the will of the people. And so we've got to step up and kind of complain and put our names on the ballot if we don't like where we're at. Federally, I complain a lot. Most people complain a lot. But at some point, the complaining has got to stop, and you've got to propose your plan. So yeah, I like to think I worked on that policy page for many months. I thought about it for many months, and I hope people like it. And it's okay if people hate it, but I hope people think about it and tell me why I'm right or wrong in their opinion.
Okay. Well, you tell me this. What's your number one thing, other than you've detailed? Hey, we should really focus on what the people want, and frankly, that's what I think everyone says. What would be the number one thing that would be different about you? What's your day one? My agenda. I want to get things fixed. This is the one that really stands out for you. What's that?
So I would say two things, but it couldn't be day one. I need people not only to vote for me, but to fight for the main 2 points that I would be fighting for, which would be charter amendments for significant campaign finance reform, and then term limits. I want a council and a mayoral term limit, just as we have for the president of the United States, 2 4-year terms max. And so those two things, I can't do those on day one. I can't do that without a political will, people wanting it as well, to kind of fight for it, get it as a charter amendment, maybe in 2022 proposal for on the ballot.
Okay.
But I want to create day one. I want to start working on creating representative government. I just don't feel represented.
Okay. Understand completely. Now, is that something you've talked with your council person about?
I don't
Because I
think
know
I've
he's
ever-
appointed.
Yeah, appointments is definitely in my plan. I do want to end that practice, but no. I've never. The only thing I've ever talked, I think, with Councilman Slife about was some zoning, and then on the Ward 17 Zoom meetings. I think one time before COVID, it was in person, and I think I asked him and David Brock a question or something like that. But no, I've never really. I don't know our councilman outside of the Ward 17 Dem Club, really.
Okay, cool. Well, with those two things are really huge issues, but will you tell me, if those are your main focuses, how does that directly affect the residents?
It doesn't in the short term,
Mhm.
but it's about overhauling the way we've done business. So, and our finances, and the fight for funding for every single department. Politicians are only human. Now I guess I'm a politician, myself included. Politicians, you know, are servants of the people and try their best to be servants of the people, but the human element comes in on these handouts, on these big handouts to billionaires, and we've we've gone over the line. We've gone well over the line.
Oh, you are not kidding.
We've gone well over the line, but my theory on the matter is that, a lot, there is a mindset that money wins elections. And it's largely true. If you look at the statistics nationwide, money buys you commercials and Facebook ads and mailers and, all the stuff that helps influence elections. So you are going to, as a politician, err on the side of not bothering or not going against the most powerful forces in the country. And you can say, oh, well, it creates jobs. And to a point, that's certainly true. But again, we've gone well over the line. We need those with means to do more. If you have more, you are tasked with the duty of doing more. So 60-year tax abatements, $1 million during COVID, $100 million during COVID. When we have small businesses folding up shop, our other, all our West Park small businesses, medium-sized business, they're not getting tax breaks. They're not getting handouts. There are grant programs in place. I just think the balance is not near where it needs to be. And I don't have access to the books. Not only would I be running to kind of provide accountability and be accountable myself, but to get an accounting. We need to see financials and negotiate on behalf of a tax-paying resident consistently, every single deal, not have to worry about reelection. So that's why if you start winning these negotiations, it helps have more money for paving, have more money for fire, police, EMS, have more money in every single department if you win the negotiations.
How do you think would be the biggest way? Because one of the challenges that I've learned is that so many people around here, they love to blame the mayor for everything, but so much of that is really tied up on the council side.
The emergency thing, the 3-day emergency thing, That should go. Obviously, again, a big part of my mindset is we, not me. It's got to be a 400. I don't know that we're at 400,000 in population anymore, of voting population, but it's got to be about us. And it can't be about the council leadership fund or the unit rule or, and I don't know the balance between is the mayor in on these negotiations? Is it the council? Is the council president? I would be telling a fiction if I said I knew that it was council and all this and who's responsible for bad negotiations. But I know it needs to be a more open public process. And that's a day one thing. We can work on that day one.
Very good. Very good. Do you have currently any relationships with any of the council people in place now that you probably would have to work with? I know you don't really know the ones local to here, but you've been around for a while working for the county and whatnot. So
you would be shocked. I've been around the ward club meetings forever with an extreme intensity. So I think that's one of the reasons why I felt comfortable running is I've been to Kevin Conwell's ward in Glenville tens of times, probably not 100, but every year, multiple times for the last like 11 or 12 years. Same thing with Blaine Griffin in Little Italy. Where else? Anthony Hairston, Polensik. I've been to all these wards with my judge, or first she was a lawyer, then she became a judge. We stayed very active in the community. So I've lost like 60 or 65 pounds, and I was never there on my own behalf. I was only handing out Cassandra Collier Williams literature, but meeting people, taking pictures with the Conwells, my judge, and Anthony, our bailiff, and Santa Claus and Glenville Rec. I still have the pictures. I wait a lot more, but I think I have good relationships, and I think these are good people that mean very well, and I would be excited to argue the stuff we disagree on, you know what I mean? And fight, do a debate. I mean, that's how you turn stuff around. That's how you get productivity. You can't all be in agreement on everything, so I used to argue about sports all the time. Now it's a little bit more politics. You come to a good conclusion when you have it out. And every councilman that I've known, that I've been to these ward clubs since 08 or 09, I love them. I've never had a bad experience at a ward club.
That's a good thing, because I mean, I went to the Ward 16 one once or twice, and I wasn't really all that excited with what I saw. But then I started watching some, since COVID, everything has changed. Everything's made so much more sense for these things in a way. And I've watched the videos of the Ward 17 club, and I'm just kind of like, why aren't they doing that in 16?
Each ward obviously has its unique issues and who all's interested in doing the ward club meetings. It's funny. Not only have I been to all the city of Cleveland ward clubs, I've been to, judicial races, felony common pleas races are county-wide.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been to the Democratic wards for pretty much all 58 or 59 municipalities in Cuyahoga County, from Gates Mills to Chagrin Falls to Strongsville to Westlake. So some of them, they have these monthly meetings and you only get 3 people. And you might get like 5 people running for judge and 3 residents. So, I'm not going to criticize a ward club leader or something for not being as active or something of that nature.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm just a people person, and I love going to parades. Unfortunately, we can't go to parades right now. Like the whole thing was, I can campaign because campaigning is fun and I love people. And then, you can't handshake for over a year. There's nothing in person. So I don't know if I'll get these signatures to get on the ballot. All I can control is what I can control. But I miss going to Ward 3's meetings, Glenville's meetings, Ward 17 in person. You know, I just love people, man.
Nice, nice. Now, in the group, you saw I put up a post a few days back. And so these are questions really that some of the folks here really want to know from you. And by the way, as for getting those signatures, I think you're going to do it. I think you will. I think it's just really a matter of, well, I mean, look, they're opening up the state pretty soon. so everything's going to be grand. But seriously, I think West Park alone could probably push you over for enough of the signatures just because they really want to see new blood in there. They're really tired, and it just is how it is.
Yeah.
Here's one of the, oh, go ahead.
Well, the one thing I would say about that is, you know, I was thinking about setting up some parking lot, you know, parking lot kind of events or drive-throughs, get some pizza, you know, and if I can do that, it's not just about me, right? It's about us. It's about our neighbors. It's about our future. And I would be happy to do joint petition signing. And I would sign other folks' petitions that want to run, because that's civil discourse. And, you know, let's have a debate and let's do this. Let's get this city turned forward moving.
Excellent. Excellent. And it just makes sense. Get everyone, get their heads in the ring, and let's see what can happen. First question, and this is kind of a famous one because it's always a part of discourse with the city of Cleveland, because everyone seems to think that, even though I think most of the Democrats are probably really borderline Republicans that run this city, from Bernard, who is always talking about Republican versus Democrat. How can Cleveland evolve if all elected officials in the city are of the same political party?
Is that Bernard Sanders?
That is Bernard Chambers.
No, it's a fair question. I think where we're at in 2021 in America, let alone Cleveland, is, and with our kids, hopefully, for those of us who are wanting to raise children, or those who are raising children, it can't be about party identification anymore. It's got to be about issue. You know, I was brought up to believe that the Democrats were the working party. We were for $15 an hour minimum wage, things like that. And I think for years that's just what I thought. And I was a party voter. You know, I believe in fair wages and workers' rights. And now the question, you know, what are the Democrats for? What are the Republicans for? Who cares? You know, let's come together and raise the minimum wage.
See, here, unfortunately, with that, there's a problem, though. And that's one of the reasons I say even the Democrats here are probably borderline Republicans. They don't really want to raise the minimum wage, unfortunately.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That we, I can't remember the year, but here we go again. Citizens were signing petitions. Hey, we need this minimum wage, you know, wage raised. And go down. When I say we, I mean our leaders.
Right.
Go they're labeled Democrats. Go down, work with. I think the governor was not DeWine, but it was Kasich maybe, and they lobby them to take away home rule on that. And I can't remember what that else extends into, but they lobby them to take away the power to raise the minimum wage for us to go of buying for the people, for us to govern our place. And so that was Democrats acting what you would say traditionally as Republican. And so I think me and you are on the same page. I don't know that it matters that there's 17 Dems and the mayor is a Dem. All that matters is, what are you fighting for? You know, and if the West Park Council person is saying, hey, no, you know, we want our home rule so we can raise minimum wage. The Glenville councilman saying, you know, hey, this should be a statewide thing. This should be a statewide thing. they should have added on the issue. It doesn't, they should get rid of the unit rule. We should get rid of the unit rule, and we should have it out, and votes should be made to be had. Right now on Twitter, people are steaming because a number of Democrats voted against the federal minimum wage.
Oh yeah.
That's how you get accountability. That's how you create political vulnerability and accountability to the people, is by getting on the record and saying, I'm for this because I'm not for this because this issue, it can't be about Republican or Democrat. So just get rid of the unit rule would be my answer to that. But as a person and as somebody that's raising kids, get beyond the two parties, let's dig in on the issues.
I think that was why they really focus on nonpartisan in Cleveland, but we all know the truth. It's a Democrat ran town. And unfortunately, it's like one of the council people that was a Green Party member, that just because he didn't get any support then, he had to say he's a Democrat, register as a Democrat. It's such a mess. Now here's another big topic that's away from the partisan politics of things that affects us all. Crime. What do you think can be done about crime in Cleveland? Especially they're asking carjackings, businesses being robbed on Rocky River Drive, and like the Amazon trucks that are, unfortunately those are crimes of opportunity. It sucks, but well, I don't know. What would you want to do about crime? What could you do?
Well, yeah, and I've had my car broken into in my garage back down my driveway. Unfortunately, everybody's dealt with crime in some far more devastating ways than others. The first thing, we can't raise the minimum wage, but building people, investing in people, not Quicken, not where we're funneling our money to, what our priorities are.
Mm-hmm.
So giving people the opportunity to start new businesses, gamble a little bit on themselves, educate themselves, have more time, not have to work two full-time jobs, even if they're not minimum wage jobs. But, if you're working a $10, $11 an hour job, you're probably picking up a second job. People are struggling financially, and when you hit number one in the nation for above 200,000 in population and poverty, that's crime right there. That's crime. It's that simple. It's socioeconomic. And so reprioritize how we use our tax dollars, put forth more to CMSD, help our kids out, help our future entrepreneurs out who will employ other folk. And beyond that, like you said, crimes of opportunity, cleaning up the vacants, partnering with some of the suburbs that are close to certain parts of Cleveland, and just beautifying the place and making it less opportunistic from an environmental perspective. You're helping out your sustainability, and you're going to bring down crime if you clean up some of these vacants, both houses and storefronts.
Right.
So and that's a day one thing. That's a day one fix.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now you can't continue with the neoliberalism. You have to have the means to hire people and to partner with organizations that want to clean up vacants. You have to have some funds. So again, that gets to my original big picture charter changes about negotiating on behalf of the taxpayer. So just fiscally getting right, and that will bring poverty down and crime down, but that'll be long term.
Excellent. What would you do about the structure of CPD right now?
So I gotta get in there. I'm a civilian. I work a regular job, just like you. What I'll say is, in listening to the budget hearings, you know who's complaining about we don't have any police. The neighborhoods furthest from downtown, like Collinwood, Ward 8, and West Park. So you're not hearing like Councilman McCormick or Councilman Spencer. You're not hearing them vocally be like, hey, my residents can't, the police aren't coming. You know what I mean? They can't get an officer for 48 hours. They can't get an officer for 48 hours. So I think again, when your priorities are global corporations, mega employers, well, those places are not going to have any problems getting police, downtown. But that's maybe not where crime's going to occur most. So just a rejiggering of the availability, but these are assumptions on my part, and that's wrong of me to even say, but you asked a question, so I want to give an answer. But it seems like which councilmen are complaining about we don't have enough police here.
Right.
And so just checking your priorities, starting from scratch, new slates.
Okay. Would you keep the safety director and the chief, or move on from those folks, do you think?
I just don't know. And I think the election is November 2nd. If I win, I would know. Well, first of all, I get on the ballot. Second of all, if I come in the top 2 in the primary.
Right.
Third of all, if I win the general, that's November 2nd. I would know when I start what I want to do. The other thing is I am very protective of my own mind. And so I don't let the media teach me about things, or I try not to, I try not to as best I can.
Mhm.
So I just read an article about the fire chief, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's somebody else writing it who's maybe done the work, maybe not done the work. I don't know. But I'm a workaholic, and I like getting different viewpoints. I like, so I don't want to say I would fire this person.
Right.
Am I willing to fire people? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because everybody wins, even the person getting fired, in the long term, just not in the short term. It's devastating in the short term to get terminated from a job, but it's not a bad thing long term if you're moving to something that you're better suited for, and then the department's getting somebody better suited for the department. But I don't know, and I'm not willing to say in day one I'm willing to fire this or that person.
Okay. Megan also asked then about, she says, what can Cleveland do to keep businesses alive downtown after COVID and then the riots in July? Many businesses moved out permanently and still remain closed. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Certainly looking at the grant system, how we can funnel money to businesses that have been devastated. Again, that's an accounting book thing, but capitalism is capitalism. If you want to put a Starbucks somewhere, even if there's a Starbucks, one block over, if you're going to succeed and make money, you're going to succeed and make money. But as far as a private business's risk in terms of paying their lease, employing their people, turning a profit, all I can say is look at the grant situation. And then again, no more handouts to billionaires.
That's one of the things that really has irked me with so many of these things. Pandemic starts, what do? Sherwin-Williams. Then the 60 year thing that happened for the little project down in the flats. And I just keep hearing about we're giving, but it's not, we're giving a lot to a bunch of small, it's millions of dollars, one shot. That millions of dollars could be broken up. Even if you just take $1 million, you spread it 10 times, 10 businesses that are hurting, $100,000 each. That may have very well been enough to keep them afloat.
Yeah, I think, that's the worry. I'd rather the tens of thousands of small businesses in Cleveland can create one job,
right?
And 2 companies can create, I don't know how many jobs it is, 100 or 700. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's something that the media goes with, and it spreads like dominoes. It spreads like a virus. Oh well, the jobs. There's a balance lacking. It's very clear. Without having access to the books and the finances. There's a prioritization toward global billion-dollar companies and a just a lack of focus on our small businesses. Lack of focus.
You know, it's not good. I don't know how else to put it. It's just not good. Another question for you. This is from Steph. It says, when I first moved to Cleveland, I felt the city was in an upswing of growth. There was a lot of development. What are there specific plans for bolstering local business and business owners who may be deferring dreams or struggling after the pandemic? How will they work with city council to how will you work with city council then to allow for new business owners to get their start?
We've got to have programs in place for training, getting incorporated, financing, tax concerns, and then the grants.
See, I can tell you right off the bat, though, one of the first, this is something that you should probably reach out to any of the council people that you know, and just hit them with that question of what their plan is. Because I can tell you from personal experience what I know about it, but you should hear it for yourself. Okay? And then you'll realize if you become mayor and if that's something you really want to do, what an uphill battle that you'll be facing.
Well, sure. I mean, it just gets back to the thing, reprioritizing big business, crony capitalism, instead of starting from the ground up with CMSD and young people, whether they want to start a business or work with their hands, you know what I mean? Having, whether you want to go to community college or start your own restaurant, there's just not a focus on new development, on new shot taking. It is the same winners dominating the game. And you see it nationally too with the wealth divide. This pandemic has been phenomenal for, the top 100th of 1%. And it's been horrible for the rest of us. And that starts with political leadership and being willing to lose re-election, to piss some people off, and to focus on those who aren't as powerful.
Another question from Steph.
Steph, I love it. Actively.
Exactly. I was really excited that there was, and that's one of the things that always tells me that, there's definitely there's want for change, man. And these are not dumb questions. There were a few in there that just kind of made me shake my head, but the bulk of them are from people who they're detailing these questions because they've thought about them a lot, because frankly, for years, it's been the same story. It's really been the same story, the same excuses. And I think Cleveland's sick of it. I have no other way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm running, that's why I'm running. If things were well, I would, I'm 38. I just never had these wishes, these desires. I'm a very regular person. I love doing goofy karaoke and all kinds of stuff, embarrassing, politically incorrect stuff. But it's the wrong city to not get involved. It's the wrong city to not get involved. So be critical of me, demand a lot of me. I'm certainly going to demand a lot of the other candidates. That's what we got to do. We got to iron out what we're getting wrong.
Now, her question, what does the future of energy in the city look like to them? Will they focus on making renewable energy abundant and affordable? A 5 or a 10-year plan would be nice to hear if you have something along those lines. And then similarly, how do you plan to address the recycling issues that are going on?
So wind and solar, and I think the wind thing is a battle with the state right now, which our city council might be on the right side of finally, I think. Creating more renewable from wind. decreasing our reliance on cars, making the bus a popular thing, um, making the rapid a popular thing. But 5-year, 10-year plan, nope, don't have that yet. Was just emailing with an energy guy the other day, and he told me I have a lot to learn, and that's fair. So, but yeah, I think we've got to use Lake Erie, and we've got to make money off it. We've got to make jobs and money off of it, and then make this world livable for decades to come.
Excellent, excellent. Another question here. Actually, I just thought about something that I remembered from maybe a week and a half ago. Somebody was really going hard to defend good old Kevin Kelly about something and whatnot. And your candidacy came up, and I think this actually should be addressed because it's about game theory and your experience with gambling. And I think you remember the comment. And it was something about like trying to downplay your own experience because, oh, you're a gambler.
Yeah.
Can you please? I don't think I would do it justice explaining game theory and gambling and how that actually applies in a way to everyday life and just things in general. So you can just put to bed hey, you know what? You were a gambler. That's a problem somehow.
Yeah. I think the lingo or the semantics of it is pretty bad. I was a professional poker player for a while throughout law school, and then the 1 year after law school, put $20 in a poker account. I think I lost it when I was a senior in college or sophomore in college, put another $20 in. And, from there, I was doing it for years, so off of the wins. And so, I think gambler has a connotation of like Adam Sandler's character in that movie he just did. He did a great job. You're dead set on losing. Basically, you're going to the casino and you're going to play until you get dragged out of there or you've lost everything. Mm-hmm. But game theory, making a wager or calculated decision making. Mm-hmm. Traverses everything. So whether you work in investing, whether you start your own small business, it traverses everything. Everything is a gamble. There's risk to everything involved. So it's just about putting in the work to quantify things and to give yourself the best chance to make a successful decision time and time and time again. And that doesn't mean that it will be the right decision. I get stuff wrong every day still today that has nothing to do with money or gambles or sports or anything like that. But it's just about really putting the work in to know something, whether it's, again, about the stock market and Bitcoin or starting your own restaurant. Like restaurants is such a big gamble, if you will. Mm-hmm. Starting a restaurant, it's a huge gamble. But there are people who started one and it's going strong, decades later. And there are people who start them and they fold after 3 months. So, I put a lot of work into the odds of poker and the work that goes along with it. It's a really high intensity thing. And when you decide to go to law school, or take the bar, it's a gamble. People don't pass the bar. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
And then you've suddenly you've spent all of these years and you're just, what happens if you fail? Like, if you fail it for whatever reason, can you take it again? Like next time around, give it a shot or?
Yeah. I can't remember what president, but there was a president that failed it like 6 times.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You can take it. At least I think in Ohio, you can take it as much as you want, but it's a big investment. It's a big gamble.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then we have Kathy Mary says, are you answering the questions honestly? Of course the candidates will tell us what they want us to hear. Oh, yeah.
You're catching me at the beginning. This is like my first public appearance, and I'm a really goofy guy naturally. So, I'm only running because, again, I don't know that there'll be a progressive on the ballot, mm-hmm. and I'm a Bernie bro. I vote, I'll tell you who I voted for in the past. I'll tell you where I stand on issues. I'll tell you that I have work to do, like with poker, and I'm certainly willing to put the work in. But I'm certainly not a normal politician yet. But I'm sure I'll get there. Maybe.
Hey, no, just don't cut this off right now. Now, here's a question that's actually a pretty good one. Now, knowing that Nate's involved with you, I'm pretty sure that you're informed on this. But ask if you support the effort to reform city council by implementing the public comment period, ending the unit rule, changing the way the members are chosen. I think we actually covered that without even going to the question of it.
All of it. My slogan is real democracy, right direction. I don't think we can head in the right direction from a financial perspective, a poverty, crime, small business, good jobs perspective until City Hall is enacting the will of the people. And you don't do that by appointing a councilman, after the midway point. You don't do that by censuring and forcing unanimous votes. You do that with discourse and arguing about, A or B and why, or is it C? You don't push things through in 3 days. We've been thinking small and short term, and we want to do it differently from our process. So ending the unit rule, ending the appointments, negotiating on behalf of the taxpayer, term limits, campaign finance, all that stuff. It's all about making decisions a lot differently than we currently make them.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Very good. Very good. Here's kind of a throwaway question, but I think it's kind of a throwaway question just because it doesn't seem to add up with what the reality of what's going on there. But somebody, Steve asked, what are we going to do with the condos they keep building if they don't get sold or rented? I mean, real estate's what it is in Cleveland, but hey, maybe you've got some insight onto that.
No, right. There would be a lull, there'll be a lull if this COVID and the economy doesn't have people graduating college or moving here for jobs. But I have a lot of faith in where Cleveland's located in, and the fact that voters are gonna start demanding progress. And therefore, I believe long-term, we still have all the bones we need for a great economy. I think the problem with the condos is that we need affordable housing next to the tough to afford housing. I can't afford any of them condos. So affordable housing is I don't mind having condos that, doctors or better lawyers than me, I suppose, could afford, but we got to have affordable housing for all of us, for over 90% of people in Cleveland proper.
Mm-hmm. Any plan for streets? Do you know? You watch the budget hearings, so you kind of know how much money they actually allocate to it and whatnot. What are your thoughts on changing that? Because, truth be told, a lot of times they'll fix a street. 2 years later, it needs to get fixed again. It needs to get fixed again. Then there's also streets that seem like they haven't been touched in 10 years.
Yeah, paving and plowing is a big, again, motivator for me getting in. I mean, I can't sit here and say, oh, I've got the paving and plowing plan right now. If I get elected, we're going to fix all the streets citywide, but the fight for funding is real. If you're not giving away $100 million, but you still want to spur business, you still want to, what I mean? The negotiation so that we have the money for these non-downtown neighborhoods is what I'm focused on. And it's not to say that I don't care about downtown being the best downtown ever. I lived downtown for 6 years. All my jobs have been downtown. I've been in more sports events than most people at all three teams. So nobody loves downtown more than me, but the outskirt neighborhoods want to be the beneficiary of the economic machine that downtown can be, not the suburbs, not Gates Mills, not somebody that owns some property but lives in Chicago or New York or Detroit. You know what I mean? We want to be the beneficiaries of all that downtown can be, even if we're in a lull right now.
Right. I mean, you remember we were talking about the police and the distribution of officers and whatever. You're familiar with downtown. I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning over on West 6th. How far do you have to walk to find 5 police officers standing around?
Right.
And
Right.
it's
Exactly.
there's so many other. Let's talk about Browns games. Oh my God, it's like half the force is down there, and it's like I get it. There's living proof right there that policing, the manpower issue shouldn't really be that much of an issue because there are people around, there are officers around, they're available. Unfortunately, they do kind of, like, it's the outskirt neighborhoods that really need more. Does downtown really need more? That's kind of one of the things that at least me living on a west side area and then knowing people who live outskirts east side, and I just it kind of frustrates me because I understand the reasoning. I understand it's almost like an opportunity based thing where, hey, they know X is going on, so they're going to allocate so many officers to be there. But there's also been similar times where you've seen there's sometimes there's just slower nights in the flats and there's slower nights down on West 6th, but the officers are still there. There's still 20 of them standing around, and you're just kind of like, wait a second, really? There's nothing going on here, but that doesn't sit well with me.
Right. Right. We just want to take, and again, I've lived downtown,
Yeah.
a billion sports. I couldn't agree more. And you, again, you heard it in the budget hearings.
Mhm.
Certain council people, their residents are complaining vociferously. You know what I mean? And then certain council people's residents, they're not lacking for police, So it's just taking a look at everything and then upgrading technology. It's 2021. So, and cleaning up some places in terms of opportunity crimes. But we definitely can do better. We
Oh yeah.
definitely can do better.
Mhm. Anything about absentee landlords? There's a few people who are asking about that because, frankly, Cleveland is, uh, frankly, unless you've become a target of somebody, you can kind of do whatever you want. And then even if you are a target, it's so challenging for anything really to happen in regards to like an absentee landlord or, yeah, help. There was recently a discussion about uh, somebody shamed somebody's front yard or something like that in one of the groups. And ultimately, it's one of those things where some people like it, some people don't. But there's nothing really you can do about it. Do you have anything that could change something like that?
Well, yeah, I just think enforcement, code enforcement, and working with the housing court, the muni court, the housing court, and levying what we can levy. Levying and that's a day one thing. We can start that on day one, and if you can afford it, you better be upkeeping your place, or we'll make money off it. We'll
Mm.
make money off it.
Now, I will say this though, just again, this is kind of par for the course with what I said about helping small businesses. Talk to them because you'll realize how much of a battle it is. One of the first steps happens to be getting the CDCs involved, and unfortunately, it's the same with the business thing. Instead of the city and the council people having something set up to really help these folks or deal with these folks, they immediately push it off to those things. That
Well,
is something that might, I know a lot of people would think that's something that has to change. It's probably responsible for some of the issues that's going on right now.
yeah, I think day one, looking at code enforcement and absentee landlords is is something we can review and get to best practices
Mhm.
starting on day one.
Cool.
Starting on day one.
I'm glad that actually got touched on because you know what? I don't think a lot of the other candidates are even going to mention anything about that for some reason. Seen it before. They just kind of ignore those things.
Well, we'll see. We need people like you to, and I'm speaking on the city club on Wednesday. I'm very nervous, but
Oh, come on.
they've had presidents and senators and stuff, so it is what it is. People like me got to run. There's still time to pull petitions for people that have a say, people that are complaining a little bit too much. If you find yourself complaining a little bit too much, either run or support a candidate for a specific reason, but get
Mhm.
involved.
Yeah.
And then the city club, other people with podcasts, other people with Facebook groups. You know, I'm happy to make a fool of myself for now. While I get try and get good at this.
Life's too serious to always be taken seriously.
It really, life's too, as we've seen that's another big motivation for me running. You know, I'm sure we've all lost friends. I'm only 38, you know, and COVID's just devastated all. How about Michael Stanley today? I mean,
yeah, that's
Michael Stanley today. I mean, I'm a former tailgate legend. You know, we've all listened to Michael Stanley just
a little
times.
I kind of have a few personal stories in regards to Michael, because you know where the studio is. You know, historically, I'm a headhunter, technical recruiter. One of the companies I worked for was Area Networks. If you're familiar with the Halley building, for a number of years, their parent company, Area Temps, was in the Halley building. And way back when I was there, I was always later guy, you know, Michael Stanley's shift over at NCX was always evenings and whatever. He was a smoker. I was a smoker. And we always seemed to just end up, we're standing outside the Halley building, having our smoke break. And it was just one of those things where met, talk, whatever. And it's not like it's, yeah, Michael Stanley. Hey, you know, you were a dude, I loved your music for years or whatever. It's just a couple of guys out there smoking, talking, you know, whatever. And he is just such a good dude, like just a human, such a good human.
The last year has been so horrible for all of us. And you know, if you care about the future, you know, you've got to stop complaining, and you've got, you know, I don't have all the answers, but it's so sad this last year, and leadership let us down, you know, with COVID. You know, we haven't done everything right. Certain other countries have done stuff better. I don't know if we're allowed to go to Canada yet, but it's been a tough year for all of us, and we want to do our parts to make each year better, you know, and have better leadership. So
if you could change any one thing right now about what's going on with Cleveland or how it is, what would that be?
Well, beyond the whole democratic process, I mean, higher wages, you know, it would be higher wages, because I think some people who are afraid of change think that would hurt businesses. But again, the marketplace is the marketplace. And when you put more money in people's pockets, you know, it's actually the reverse effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And
you give people buying power.
Yeah, you give people buying power. So I would raise, and you drop, and crime's going to drop just naturally. Yeah. Crime's going to drop. So, you know, everybody's got to play by the same rules. If there was one thing I could snap my fingers and change, it would be that minimum wage.
Excellent. You know, there's so much more that we could talk about, but I know you wanted to make sure you were able to spend some time with your wife.
My wife is the true hero. You know, this is so crazy what I'm doing. It's so, as a civilian who I'm not independently wealthy, you know, in a place that they say is going to take over $1 million to win an election and stuff like that. For her to just let me spend the time I spend and talk the crazy talk that I talk about how we got to do this, you know, this is our window, you know, you gotta make change now when there's a vacuum, you know, she spurs me to be able to do this. So yeah, my wife, she should get some a Saturday night.
What was the first word she said when you told her that you for sure were going to run?
Pretty much everybody has had originally scoffed, except my old boss, Judge Cassandra Collier-Williams, because she knew how hard we worked on her campaign. You know, we lost in 2010, and then we won in 2012, and that was countywide, and I was one of the main foot soldiers, so she wasn't surprised. She was like, you know, I support you. Judges can't endorse. But
oh, come on.
You know, but yeah, my wife, you know, thought it was crazy. She still, you know, probably thinks it's crazy, but she supports me. You know, she supports me. So,
I mean, if you can pull it out.
Yeah, and she's just like the councilman. She says, "Why not council first? Why not council first?" and that's fair. That's a common thought.
See, what I guess the one thing that bugs me about that is I've seen, frankly, elected officials are supposed to be the representative of the people. Okay. If you're going to be counsel and, train into something, you're not representing the people. You're learning about a job. It's representing the people is not really supposed to be a job. It is. You're supposed to be a decision maker, but you're supposed to hire the experts in regards to the specifics of something. I mean, when I hear someone say, well, you should be a council person first, or, you should do whatever first. And then, like, I've heard people say, you know what, get into state politics first, and then maybe you can run for a federal level thing. And to me, I don't know whether I want one of my favorite politicians out there is AOC. And you know what? She didn't train for it. And she's out there. She's moved the bar. She's done so many things that really, in a way, inspires me. And
Right.
I think that's what the leadership roles were supposed to be.
Yeah, we exactly. You've got to think outside the box. You've got to demand more. Again, I'm 38. I don't know what tomorrow holds. Everything's a gamble. Driving to work is a gamble. People don't make it to work.
Yeah.
So doing the most we have with the time we're given. I found philosophy over the last year. I love it. Don't constrict yourself. Anything is possible, but you do have to be willing to put in the work and believe in yourself. And that's one thing we got to do in Cleveland is empower kids and empower people who want to start businesses. And the thing about Cleveland and me running for mayor instead of council is if I saw a councilman or a candidate that was so far, in terms of different thinking than the rest of the council, and that person had made it clear they were running, well, maybe I'd volunteer on their campaign, but if the vote is 15-2 on 60-year tax abatements for wealthy outsiders, or 14-1 on raising the campaign finance from $1,000 to $5,000, well, who's the council person that has done it the appropriate way and now is representing where I would be on that campaign finance issue, on the abatement issue, on the Q deal issue? I just don't know that I have that candidate. I just don't know that I have that candidate that thinks the way I think about these things. So.
Excellent. Well, I guess we're definitely at an hour. Let me let you get out of here. If at some point you decide that you want to get some word out to some folks as well, we can do this again. I don't know whether I'm ever going to have a real schedule on when, but like I was telling you about this is more about something's coming up, something's going on. People want to hear something about it. And I really would rather people hear things straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. And I'm happy to do this with other candidates. Again, happy to, first of all, I need my petition signed. If you want to see me on the ballot, even if you don't support me, even if you hate me, even if you hate me.
Sign his petition. Get him at least so you can watch him maybe lose an election if you don't like the guy.
Exactly. I played the World Series of Poker. I lost, but it doesn't mean I don't play.
Exactly.
Play. So,
where can people find you? Where can people? I shared the link to your website in there, but I mean, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. You can submit or subscribe or submit your email through the website, rossdibello.com, rossdibello4mayor@gmail.com. Ross DiBello, FOR mayor@gmail.com. And Twitter, Twitter, it's now DiBello for mayor. We just set up a professional candidate account. Yeah. My other account's Ross-tron5. That's kind of my personal sports account, sports game. Facebook, I have a Facebook page, and I have an Instagram, Ross_DiBello_CLE. So I'm on all the stuff, and you can find it on my website, rossdibello.com.
Good deal.
I'll be more active on the West Park Facebook group. I've been in the group since we moved here. I'm just not a Facebook commenter. I don't do it.
Got it. Well, you'll just keep reading. You'll start to get a feel for exactly who's kind of where and what, and who might be a headache and who might not, and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I like that. If we could, I've never been a fan of the way Cleveland does debates. And I think this time right now is kind of set up. It would kind of be cool if, you know, like you and Bib and, you know, if Kelly finally stops pretending and any other candidate, you know, if you know, good old Dennis decides he really is going to throw it in, get you all on here and have a little bit of a different kind of debate.
It's the only way to drive change.
It really
It's
is.
the only way to drive change. We have to stop doing things the way we've been doing them.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, it has been a pleasure. I will let you get out of here, go have some fun with the wife, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tom. I look forward to doing it again.
Excellent. Thanks, Ross. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, folks. That was Ross DiBello, candidate for the upcoming Cleveland mayoral election. Hopefully more to come. And very soon, I think maybe I'll get to more of a regularly scheduled let me talk sort of thing. But you know how it is. Things change. Everyone.